Hello there, good morning. Welcome to Breakfast with Louise Minchin and John Kay.
Our headlines this morning, it's A-level results day and the number of top grades is expected to rise when students in England, Wales and Northern Ireland get their results.
I'm confident in myself, and I think future employers will be, that this year, given how exceptional it was, it's the best result and the best approach we could have had.
Good morning, and it's results day for those gaining professional qualifications they've been training in. But how have they done that during a pandemic, and why are these courses becoming more popular than ever?
A lawsuit is filed by a woman in New York accusing Prince Andrew of historical sexual abuse.
Firefighters from across Europe head to Greece to help battle wildfires on Avia, the country's second largest island.
We have more Olympians in the studio with us today. Keely Hodgkinson and the Gadarova twins will be here to tell us all about their medal-winning exploits in Tokyo.
Good morning. Today's going to be drier, a bit warmer and sunnier than it was yesterday. There are still some showers in the forecast, though, the heaviest of which will be across the north and the east of Scotland. I'll have more details in 25 minutes.
Morning to you. It's Tuesday the 10th of August and our top story, hundreds of thousands of students will receive their A-level results today and high grades are expected across England, Wales and Northern Ireland.
Yes, for a second year, results have been based mainly on teacher assessments after exams were cancelled because of the pandemic. Vocational BTEC results are also out today and higher and national grades in Scotland will also be confirmed. Our education correspondent Elaine Dunkley has the latest.
In Loughborough, Shivani and Finn say dealing with the disruption, constant assessments and the fear that their grades are not seen as valid has been tough.
And that does add more stress for me than I think an exam would, because with an exam it's sort of like you take it in one sitting and that's it and you can't go back to it and the rest of it's out of your control.
There's a lot of talk about the issue of grade inflation, and I appreciate that that's a real concern, but ultimately in the circumstances that have prevailed, the alternative wouldn't have been fair and it wouldn't have been feasible. And so I'm confident in myself, and I think future employers will be, that this year, given how exceptional it was, it's the best result and the best approach we could have had.
With exams cancelled, ensuring fairness has been a challenge. Students have been assessed only on what they have been taught. The pandemic has also put pressure on teachers who need to provide evidence for every grade that has been awarded.
The teachers themselves had to do that marking and then feed that marking into the grading meetings. The grading meetings were a significant unit of work in themselves, hours of meetings discussing grades, grade boundaries and students and their individual circumstances, and defending those grades as we determine them and ensure that we can evidence them. So a huge amount of work.
The government says 1 in 5 schools have had a sample of their grades checked by exam boards. It's expected that those receiving top grades will be significantly higher than in previous years, and with record numbers applying to go to university, it could put pressure on places.
What we need to do this year is just make sure that we focus on what's happened now and that we give absolute confidence to young people that their efforts have been worthwhile and the exam results they get today are a fair reflection of their ability, and they can go with pride to the next step in their education or into the employment market.
A-level students in Wales and Northern Ireland will also get their grades today, and in Scotland, higher and national results will be confirmed. Students may not have set traditional exams, but the pandemic has been a test on many levels. Elaine Dunkley, BBC News in Loughborough.
So, a big day for lots of students. We're going to catch up with a few of them and their teachers throughout the morning here on Breakfast. And we're also going to speak to the Education Secretary, Gavin Williamson, and to the head of the University Application Service, UCAS, about what happens next for all those students who get the grades they wanted, and maybe some of them even better.
Yeah, and good luck to everyone as well. A woman from the US has filed a lawsuit in New York accusing Prince Andrew of sexual abuse.
Yes, in a statement, Virginia Roberts-Giuffre claims that she was trafficked to the prince by the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein when she was 17. The Duke of York has consistently denied those allegations. Nada Tawfik reports.
The civil suit alleges that convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein forced Virginia Roberts Giuffre to have sex with Prince Andrew when she was just 17 in London, New York, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. And she claims that Prince Andrew knew she was a sex trafficking victim, that she was underage, and she never consented to the alleged sexual acts. Now, Prince Andrew has previously emphatically denied these allegations. And in fact, the allegations themselves are not what's new here. What's new is her ability to file this lawsuit. Under a landmark New York state law called the Child Victims Act, there is a window of opportunity for alleged victims to file claims of sexual abuse no matter how long ago they occurred. But that window expires in just a few days. So Prince Andrew's representatives were contacted by Virginia Roberts Giuffre's legal team, who said that they would file this suit if they did not come to a negotiated settlement. They say that they didn't hear anything back from Prince Andrew's team, and that's why they were moving forward with this lawsuit. In a statement, she said that she took a lot of time to think over her decision. She did not come to it lightly, and that she did understand that it might open her up to further attacks. Again, though, Prince Andrew has emphatically denied the allegations.
Firefighters from across Europe are still trying to bring wildfires in Greece under control following the country's most severe heatwave in 30 years.
Yeah, and at the same time, in Northern California, blazes have been raging since last month, and officials there say that less than a quarter of those fires have been contained so far, as Simon Jones explains.
A natural fury without precedent. That's how the Greek Prime Minister has described the wildfires that have caused so much devastation. The battle to contain them continues on the island of Evia. More than 500 blazes have broken out across the country in recent days. Firefighters have been joined by local residents, trying to make the area safe.
Climate change is real, and the heat wave affected this. We didn't see any rain to stop this fire. I used to run in this forest, I used to cycle, we used to go for and collect fruits. Now everything is gone.
Where the fires have been contained, it's now a case of counting the cost to the environment and to property. Homes ruined, residents and holidaymakers forced to flee. In Athens, protests. These demonstrators say the government hadn't done enough to prepare for such a disaster. The Prime Minister has promised more money to tackle the fires and their aftermath.
It's obvious that the climate crisis is now knocking on the door of the entire planet, with fires that last weeks. This is a reason, but it's not an excuse nor an alibi, and I will say it clearly. We may have done whatever is humanly possible, but in many cases, this did not appear to be enough in the unequal battle with nature.
Catastrophic scenes in the US too. The Dixie Fire is the second largest wildfire Northern California has ever seen. The warning is it could take weeks to contain. 5,000 firefighters have been drafted in. They say they're in uncharted territory. As in Greece, it's clear there will be many more difficult days ahead. Simon Jones, BBC News.
Well, here, David Cameron made around £7 million from Greensill Capital before the controversial finance company collapsed earlier this year. That is according to documents that were obtained by BBC Panorama.
The former Prime Minister had lobbied the government on behalf of the company and has repeatedly refused to tell MPs what he was paid by Greensill. A spokesman for Mr Cameron said his remuneration was a private matter.
Let's speak to our chief political correspondent, Adam Fleming, who joins us now. And Adam, I know MPs are away at the moment, but their parliamentary WhatsApp groups must have been buzzing with this overnight.
Morning, John. Well, we've had a statement from Labour's deputy leader who's gone on the record saying that it's utterly ludicrous, in Angela Rayner's words, that David Cameron was paid such a big sum to work for a company that ultimately failed. But because his lobbying wasn't against the rules, they say that Labour would change the rules. And there's two big bits of information we're still waiting for in this saga. We do not know ultimately the cost to the taxpayer of the collapse of Greensill Capital and some of its clients, because loans were made by Greensill to some businesses that were guaranteed by the taxpayer, and there's a process going on around that, even though the government has suspended those guarantees. And the second thing we don't know is whether the government is going to change the rules around lobbying and around what former prime ministers can do when they get in touch with the government. There's been a review by the government into what happened with the Greensill Capital case, but we've only had the part of the review that looks at the facts of the case, rather than the part of the review that makes recommendations about any changes. So that's two big pieces of the puzzle that still remain. And we've had a statement from David Cameron's office saying he deeply regrets what happens. He didn't know anything about the difficulties facing Greensill Capital or its clients, he says, and he doesn't recognise the $10 million, £7 million figure for his salary that Panorama are quoting.
OK, Adam, thanks very much indeed for now.
London's Tower Bridge has remained stuck open overnight and is expected to cause more traffic disruption in the capital today.
Yeah, here it is. The 127-year-old crossing became jammed after it let a tall ship through yesterday afternoon and then stayed like that. They're blaming a technical failure, but it's not known when that is going to be fixed. In the meantime, drivers and pedestrians are being warned to avoid the area. It's bizarre, isn't it, seeing it up like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
See the headlines as they happen and watch BBC News live in the app and get the full story with bbc.co.uk/news. Follow the story for all the latest with BBC News.